Hello my friends, Paul here in the RoJoBe Music Workshop. Okay, so today I've sold one of my electric guitars, which I now have to ship to the customer. So this is the guitar that I've sold. Nice looking electric guitar, known as the Warlock style. There's the headstock. Nice fretboard inlays and body shape, pretty cool. We've got humbuckers at the bridge and neck, and we've got a single coil in the middle. So before I send this off to the customer, I'm going to do a full setup on it. So that's what this video is about. It's electric guitar setup. So tuning, intonation, string action, string height, neck bow, pickup balance, and checking all the electronics. You can probably see that I've got all the strings off to the side, because the very first job I'm going to do on this guitar before I do anything else is clean the frets and clean and oil the fretboard. It's been sat in the shop for a while, so it's kind of dusty and dull, so it just needs a clean up, and also, as I said, a full setup. Okay, so let me just turn it around first. Let's get the gig bag out of the way, which it comes with free. Okay, so let me just put that block under there. Right, so I'll get the camera set up in a way that you can see what I'm doing. Okay, so just adjust the tripod. Right, how does that look? Not too bad. Okay, so first things first, I'm going to clean the frets. So what I'm going to use is some wet and dry sandpaper, just using it dry, and this is 7000 grit. Because I don't want to be filing the frets, just cleaning them. And I've got these, I'm not quite sure what you call them, but you put them over the frets while you're cleaning to protect the fretboard. So let me just move this down a bit if I can, without knocking everything over. So the idea is you put this guard, I guess that's what we're going to call it, over the fret while you clean the fret itself. So I'm just going to tear a small piece of this wet and dry off first. Okay, so all I need to do is just go over the fret and just polish it up with this wet and dry. I very much doubt it's going to need a fret job. It's a brand new guitar, but I'll check all that later. Okay, so I've only done one fret, the very first fret, and I'm not sure if you can see the difference there. I'm sure you can. It's kind of nice and shiny, and the others are a bit dull. Can you see that? I think you can. So it doesn't take very much. As I said, it is a brand new guitar. It's just been sat in the shop for a while, and it's just gathered a bit of dust and grime, that's all. I've got about 20 to 22 frets to do, so it's a straightforward process, easy enough, just takes a little time, but it's definitely worth doing. It just makes it look a bit nicer. You don't want to buy a brand new guitar and find that everything is a bit dull and faded on it. Okay, so I've done the first 3 frets. You can see they're kind of shiny and the rest are dull. So I'm just going to do the rest of that off camera. You can see what I'm doing. It's not particularly exciting, and I don't want to just waste camera footage, so I'll bring you back when I finish this little job and show you the results. Okay, so that little job is done. All the frets are nice and shiny now, which will make it nicer feel and also a bit easier to play. So the fretboard itself is kind of dull and dry as well. So the next job is to treat the fretboard with some boiled linseed oil. Okay, so let's just crack on with that. So I want to do this oiling the fretboard before I do anything else, just to give it time to settle and, you know, do what it needs to do. So as any of you who follow my channel, you will have seen me do this many times before. So you give the whole fretboard a really good coating in the oil. So what this does is, obviously it makes the wood look nice and bright, but it protects the wood, because fretboards are untreated, they're bare wood, and it does dry out quite a bit, and you know, over time it can crack and all sorts of things. So it's always a good idea to treat your fretboard every now and then with a good oil, but at least as importantly, if not more so, you wipe off the excess. You do not leave a film of oil on your fretboard, because it will just go sticky, it'll attract dust and dirt, and it'll, you know, you'll just have a nasty sticky finish on your fretboard, and you don't want that. So make sure you get off all of the excess oil. Let's just use another cloth to finish that off. Cloths everywhere. How's that? That's a good one. So yeah, just wipe off all of the excess. Make sure you don't leave any damp spots with the oil, nice and dry. And usually you'll give it a few minutes and then wipe it over again. So just to show you the result of that now. So now the fretboard itself is all nice and clean and treated, and that will stop it from drying up. So, you know, it's, whenever I sell any instruments, I always check it over and do any setting up that needs to be done, all free of charge, of course, all part of the service. And this also is a good opportunity to show something that I've been meaning to do for a while on a video, is an electric guitar setup, because it's quite a bit different to your acoustics. Okay, so that all seems to be good. Now, before I go any further, I want to check the neck bow. And it does look as though there is a very slight overbow to this neck. And ideally you want it to be as straight as possible, but if you've got any kind of bow, rather than overbow, you want underbow. Because overbow you can get problems with buzzing. But I'm not going to do the adjustment on that yet. I'm going to string it back up and get all the strings up to tension, and then check the neck bow again. And because once all the strings are up to tension, it might pull that out, pull it nice and straight. It should do. So let's get all the strings back in first. Okay, and then as I said, I'll get it strung up more, tuned up more or less to pitch, and see how that neck bow looks. I'm sure it will be absolutely fine, but even if it's not, it's an easy adjustment. I don't really want to break any of these strings, although I do have many spares. I'd rather not have to change any if I can help it. Okay, so do I have my tuner here? Doesn't look like it, so I'll run and get that and I'll bring you straight back. Okay, so I've got all the strings back in and got it tuned up more or less to pitch. It's not perfect, but it's close enough. And I've checked the neck bow again, and it does seem as though it is perhaps very slightly overbowed still. And there is a fair bit of buzzing on some of the strings, so I'm going to need to adjust that. But before I do any of the setup on this guitar, I need to check the electronics. There's no point doing any of the setup until I know that all the electronics work properly on it, because you know, if there's a problem there, then we've got a much bigger problem, or possibly. So before I go any further, I'm going to just check the electronics. So into the amp, let's get the amp plugged in. Okay, so seems to have a bit of a hum already. That's not good. Let's try. Okay, that's interesting. Okay, I can already see there's a problem. The two humbucker pickups are working fine. That's neck and bridge. But the middle pickup doesn't appear to be working. That's not a good start. Okay, so that's a problem I'm going to need to look into. Before I go any further, there's no point doing the setup until I've got that problem seen to. I shouldn't think it's anything serious. It's probably a bad solder or loose wire or something. But what it does mean is I've got to take the guitar apart to have a look at it, which is obviously going to take a bit more time. So I'm going to end this video here. And I'm just going to delve into that, see if I can find the problem, and I'll do a part 2 to this video, possibly including you know, including the problem finding and solving for this inoperative pickup, and then, you know, if I do find the problem and I solve it, then we'll continue with the setup. But for now, this is the end of part 1, and hopefully very soon we'll see you in part 2. So did you like this video? If you did, please give a thumbs up, subscribe, hit the notification bell and everything else. In the meantime, look after yourselves, look after each other. We will see you soon. Peace out.